Hey, 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 welcome to the attic. We've got a Commander Legends box in stock today on the release day. Cheers for your local game store. They also hooked me up with a Baron Sanger, and because I was a pre-order, got this nice shiny foil Mystic Confluence. Let's crack it open. Little sheet on deck construction, looks like. Maybe we should fix the white balance. Alright, let's hope that's better. Got this little card here. Talks about the draft format. Basically, instead of a 40 card deck, which you might be used to in a regular limited draft, it's 60. You are allowed to play multiples, unlike Commander. Start with 40 life, you're up against theoretically 3 other opponents, so 4-player pod, and commander damage counts, which is going to be a very important part of this deck building. So let's count out 6 packs. I think I grabbed Exactsies. Let's save the rest to hopefully draft in person one day. But I'm going to play my friends over Spell Table with a sealed deck, so let's see what we open in our 6-pack sealed. Awkwardly maneuver around the camera here. Okay. We've got Gale Strike. Return target tap creature to its owner's hand, draw a card. Probably won't be playing that. Briarblade Adept, Elf Assassin. 3/4 with an encore for 4. Whenever Briarblade Adept attacks target creature and opponent controls, get -1/-1 until end of turn. Maybe play that in the elf deck. Dragon Egg, 0/2 defender. When it dies, create a 2/2 fire-breathing dragon. That's kind of cool. Good, and maybe some kind of like sacrifice thing. Uh-oh, running out of battery. Hold on. Okay, we are back. I was hoping to provide myself limited editing, but you know, that's how it goes. Let's see if we can move some stuff up a little bit here. Make our piles. We've got Prying Eyes. So draw 4, then discard 2 cards. We've got a little white artifact. Let's do Wooburg, okay? We'll do white over here. That destroys an enchantment. That's actually pretty good. You can definitely consider that one's a good common. Anointer of Valor is a 3/5 flying angel. Whenever a creature attacks, you may pay 3. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. Not the best rate, but you know, unlimited, you might play it. Scrounging Vandar, which is a cat monkey. Ooh, Moss Diamond. So that would be in a green deck. So in Commander, you have the identity of the commander, so you want to just like pick based on what the commander's identity is, and that counts mana symbols in the card. So while Moss Diamond is colorless within the game of Commander, you can only play it in decks where you have a green commander, or a commander that has green somewhere in their text box, because that is the identity. Exquisite Huntmaster, another elf. Green-black elves is a very strong archetype here. 2/4 flying lifelink. Looks like Angels is pretty strong in white. Workshop Assistant. Whenever it dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Prophetic Prism is kind of bad fixing. Return to Dust. Exile target artifact or enchantment. If you cast it during your main phase, you can exile another one. So also Commander, very important 2-for-1s or 3-for-1s. Anytime you're using removal, your other opponents are getting up ahead of you. So you're down a card, the opponent you remove something from is down a card, but the other 2 opponents then are up a card. So stuff that removes from multiple goes up in value in Commander. We've got a 4/3 Menace Elf, Guiltleaf Winnower, and when it enters the battlefield, you may destroy target non-elf creature whose power and toughness aren't equal. That seems very good, and that is an uncommon. We've got Strength of the Pack. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. I think that's alright, depending on if you're going wide, that could be a good value. Okay, we got a Mythic right here in our first pack. Phyrexian Triniform. When it dies, create 3/3 colorless golem artifact creature tokens, Encore 12. Okay, well, big mana deck. But that can go into kind of anything, so that's not bad to have in a sealed pool. It's a good colorless card, although it's quite expensive. And we've got our first legendary. This is a new one in this set. Uncommon, Elena Kessig Tracker. 4/3 first strike. You can tap, add an amount of red equal to the greatest power among creatures you control that entered the battlefield this turn. That would be pretty good to help him pay for the Phyrexian Trendform. So I guess, I don't know where we'd put our commanders somewhere. And we got Slurk, the All Ingesting, the new Ooze commander. 6 mana, 0/0, but it enters with 5 +1/+1 counters, and whenever it or another creature you control dies, if it had a +1/+1 counter on it, you put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control that has a +1/+1 counter on it. So, some kind of weird, like, aristocrats +1/+1 counter something or another. Alright. And we've got a foil, Angel of the Dawn. Angel of the Dawn enters the battlefield. Creatures you control get +1/+1 and gain Vigilance until end of turn. Vigilance is very good in Commander. Don't underrate that, but 5 mana. We got the Prismatic Piper, which is your Commander of Last Resort. Hey, and a Monarch token. Glad that these are back. Alright, let's do pack 2. Okay. Starting off with an Ivy Lane Denizen. This is a reprint, but a very good one. It's a 2/3, and whenever another green creature enters the battlefield, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. So it's an elf. It works in Elves deck. It works in Go Wide decks, as long as you have some good amount of green. Renegade Tactics. Target creature can't block this turn. Draw a card. Not sure if that's worth a slot. It's a sorcery speed too. Strategic Planning. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Alright, well, the blue-black graveyard deck is an archetype. We got Spark Harvest. It's just solid removal. Destroy a creature or planeswalker. That's important because there are some uncommon, I think they're uncommon, planeswalker commander possibilities. They're definitely new planeswalker commanders, planeswalkers that say this such and such can be your commander. And a Ripscale Predator. It's a 6/5 Menace Dinosaur. Scholar of Stars. When it enters the battlefield, if you control an artifact, draw a card. Okay. Stone Fury deals damage to target creature equal to the number of lands you control. It's an instant speed. It's removal. Ancient Animus, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control if it's legendary, then it fights target creature an opponent controls, instant speed. That seems good, especially if you got a big legendary creature. Supernatural Stamina, until end of turn, target creature gets +2/+0, gains with this creature dies, returns to the battlefield tapped under its owner's control. So that's a little like save your commander from death. We got the Fire Diamond. Squad Captain. It's a 2/2 soldier that enters with a +1/+1 counter for each other creature you control. That might actually be better in Commander. I remember that from Limited being kind of meh. Does have Vigilance. Staunch Throne Guard. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Well, we're playing that in whatever deck we're in. That's there. We got an Opal Palace, which is a land that taps for colorless or 1 and tap, add a mana of any color in your commander's identity, and if you spend it to cast your commander, it enters the battlefield with a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the number of times it's been cast from the command zone this game. I think we consider that if we were in a 3-color deck or the +1 counter deck where we really want +1 counters on our commander, but otherwise I don't think we'd really consider that very well. Vow of Torment. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2, has menace, and can't attack you or a planeswalker you control. That's pretty good removal in Commander, in the sense that your opponent can't use it on you, so you play it on one of their big beaters, which I think there's going to be a lot of combat in this format, so that's probably good. Hey, we got a pirate! Fathom Fleet Swordjack. One day I'll do a deck tech on my Admiral Beckett Brass deck. When Fathom Fleet Swordjack attacks, it deals damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking equal to the number of artifacts you control, and then you can encore. Very solid. And another Orc, Frenzied Saddle Brute. Orc Warrior, 5/4 haste. All creatures can attack your opponents and planeswalkers your opponents control as though those creatures had haste. That's a cool ability, actually. I don't know why they don't just, for 5 mana, give everything haste at uncommon. I guess that's still too powerful. Hey, Command Beacon for a rare. Just put your commander into your hand. That's a good reprint. That was well needed. And we have a legendary horse. Whenever a commander you control attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it, and it has partner. So there's so far. Oh, and another mythic. Tevesh Zat, Doom of Fools. Create 2/0/1 black thrall creature tokens for its +2. +1, you can sacrifice another creature or planeswalker. If you do, draw 2 cards, then draw another card if the sacrificed permanent was a commander. So it's like, you know, you want to play it with stuff that you want to sacrifice. Maybe some of these cheaper commanders so you can recast them. Very fascinating. We have a foil Spark Harvest in the foil slot, and oh, no, another Monarch token. Cool. On to pack 3. Lifecrafter's Gift. Instant for 4 mana. Put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it. Kind of situational. Not too excited about that one. Wielding Sparks deals X damage to target creature where X is 3 plus the number of artifacts you control. Something with the artifact deck. Flood of Recollection. I like this card. Return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. Exile Flood of Recollection. Good if we get a bomb instant or sorcery that we might want to cast a second time. Corpse Churn, mill 3 cards, then you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Good if we want to return a bomb creature. Spark Tongue Dragon, flying. So flying is going to be really important in this format, obviously, because you have the Monarch running around all the time. When Spark Tongue Dragon enters the battlefield, you may play 2 in a red. If you do, it deals 3 damage to any target. So it's a flyer with a little bit of removal red built in, although it's kind of an expensive kicker. 8 mana for Lightning Bolt and a Dragon. Wildheart Invoker. So here's a mana sink. 4/3 elf, 8 mana, target creature gets +5/+5 and gains trample until end of turn. I think that's very playable. Elvish Doomsayer, the opposite of the Elvish Visionary. It's a 1/1 for 2, and when it dies, each opponent, critical thing, each opponent discards a card. Pretty good. And we've got a Pirate, 3/3 for 4. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch. Great. And it can't be blocked by creatures the Monarch controls. So you steal the Monarch back really easily with it. That's pretty good. Angel of the Dawn, +1/+1 Vigilance Angel. Meh. Sentinel Spider, 4/4 Vigilance Reach. I think this is just a solid common here. Remember how I said flyer is going to be important. Here's something for that artifact deck. Foundry Inspector, 3/2 for 3. Artifact spells cost 1 less. We'll probably be running that in whatever deck we're in. Make this 9 mana mythic a little bit less expensive. We got the Pirate's Cutlass. I guess good for pirates. Benevolent Blessing. Oh yeah, I like this. This is one they said was probably going to be pretty good in the Pauper format. It's 2 mana flash enchant creature and you choose a color, and it has protection from the chosen color, and it does not remove auras or equipment. So it removes some of the drawbacks of having these auras that give protection. Scholar of the Ages. You can do some nice graveyard loops with that. 3/3 wizard that returns up to 2 target instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard to your hand. Remember that from M20. Ooh, Thought Vessel. That's going in whatever deck we have. Just a nice 2 mana ramp mana rock. The hand size thing's usually not relevant, but a little bonus. We have a 1/3 Nadier's Nightblade, Elf Warrior. Whenever a token you control leaves the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. I guess that's as close as you're going to get to a Blood Artist in this format. And for a rare, we have a Bladegriff Prototype. Whenever Bladegriff Prototype deals combat damage to a player, destroy target non-land permanent of that player's choice that one of your opponents controls. Okay, so this is one where you play a little politics, right? And you say, I'll hit you with this, and you get to destroy what's bothering you, which of course is probably something that's also bothering you, so that's cool. Hey, we have our first dual color legendary. Looks like it's the Signpost for white-red, auras and equipment. It's a 2/2 Dwarf Artificer, or Artificer. What do you say? Leave a comment. Whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, that creature gains double strike until end of turn. Nice. Double strike in the team. It's over in the commanders pile. And we have another familiar. It's the blue one this time. It's a 1/3 flying. Spells your opponents cast that target one or more commanders you control cause 3 more to cast. Pretty good. Pretty solid. Oh, and we have an etched foil. This is that etched foil they're talking about. Radiant Sarah Archangel. 6/4 flying. Tap another untapped creature you control with flying. Radiant Sarah Archangel gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn. Partner. 7 mana. That's a bit expensive for a commander, but that's a good ability. Definitely can come in and do some good commander damage, especially if you're going to equip it up. And then we got a copy token. All right. On to the next pack. Okay. Scrap Diver Serpent. This is 7 mana, 5/5, can't be blocked as long as defending player controls an artifact, which will probably be almost always. Crushing Vines, choose one, destroy target creature with flying or target artifact. Probably almost always play that. As I said, flyers are going to be running rampant. Dragon Mantle, you get to draw a card and a chain of creature gets fire breathing. That seems pretty good in the white-red deck. Kitescale Skirmisher, this is a reprint, I believe. No, it's got Encore. This is brand new. It's a 3/1 flying for 4, and whenever it attacks another target creature attacking the same player or planeswalker gains flying until end of turn, Encore 5. So, just hope your pirates get in. We've got a Jalem Tome. This is tap 2, draw a card, discard a card. I think you pretty much only play that in the decks that really want to discard. 5 mana to discard a card. It's kind of expensive. Makeshift Munitions. There's a sack outlet. 1 sacrifice artifact or creature deals 1 damage to any target. Phyrexian Rager. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Okay, it's a low value creature. Ninth Bridge Patrol. Whenever another creature you control leaves the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Ninth Bridge Patrol. So that's some kind of, I guess, aristocrats / +1/+1 counters payoff there. Lizelana Bowmaster. Elf Archer, 2/2 reach. Whenever you cast an elf spell, you may have Lizelana deal 2 damage to target creature with flying. Again, more flyer hate from green. Solid. Ghastly Demise. Destroy target non-black creature if its toughness is less than or equal to the number of cards in your graveyard. That looks very situational, although it's a 1 mana instant. Hey, Cartographer. This is ramp, but it's kind of expensive ramp at 4 mana. And you can search your library for planes, put it in the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. That is a reprint. Very familiar with whatever you can do to ramp in white, because you do have limited options. Here's Amorphous Axe. So 2 and then 3 to equip. Target equipped creature gets +3/+0 and is every creature type. I believe that's from Modern Horizons. It's a good one. Rupture Spire, more rainbow mana fixing. Not really looking to play that if we can help it. First Response. At the beginning of each upkeep, if you lost life last turn, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token. That seems very good at generating the tokens. Angelic Armaments, it's another equipment. 3 to play, 4 to equip. It gets +2/+2, has flying, and is a white angel in addition to its others, colors, and types. It's interesting. I haven't seen any, I know there's a lot of angels in this, but I haven't seen any like angel payoffs. Like all angels do this or that. Hunter's Insight. Choose target creature you control. Whenever that creature deals combat damage to a player or planeswalker this turn, draw that many cards. That will definitely make a green deck if we have it. Always important to have lots of draw. Oh, an Austere Command. This is a commander staple, just flexible wipe. Choose 2, destroy all artifacts, destroy all enchantments, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 3 or less, destroy all creatures with converted mana cost 4 or greater. That is a very strong pull into white. Now we are in the legendary creature section. We've got Numa, Jiraga Chieftain. She is not doing a Numa Numa dance, as far as I can tell. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you may pay XX. If you do, distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of target elves. So that is going hard on the elf deck. Oh, and here's the black partner you could pair it with. Mirara, Thorn of the Glade. Whenever Mirara, Thorn of the Glade, or another elf you control dies, you may pay 1 and 1 life. If you do, draw a card. That's pretty good, because in that black-green elves deck, I think the elves are going to be cycling a lot. Okay, we got another Amorphous Axe, this time in foil. And a treasure token. Somebody alert the pirates. 2 more packs left. What cards have people liked so far? What do you think we should be building around based on what you've seen so far? I think Partner is very strong, right? Because you get an extra card. We'll see. We've got an Aven Surveyor, enters the battlefield. Put a +1/+1 counter on it, or you can return target creature to its owner's hand. And it's a 2/2 flyer. That seems like limited fodder. Not necessarily what I want to be doing at 5 mana. We've got the Angelic Gift. When it enters the battlefield, you draw a card, and it gives something flying. That's pretty solid. And we know there's some payoffs for enchantments in white-red. Dund Operative. Dun dun dun. Hey, it's a rogue. Maybe that will go in my rogues deck. As long as you control an artifact, it gets +1/+0 and has Death Touch. Very solid. That can hold down the ground pretty well. Undying Rage. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and can't block, and when it's put into a graveyard from the battlefield, you return Undying Rage to its owner's hand. It's good value. They're definitely running auras where you draw a card or you get it back or whatever. Run away together. Another solid value. To return creatures by 2 different players, right? So it can be 2 of opponent's creatures rather than how you were using it in Eldraine to return stuff you control. Silverback Shaman, this is another one that was very solid, and I think it was M20. 5/4 trample. When it dies, draw a card. We've got a Seer's Lantern. This is a mana rock, so we'll probably run that even if it is 3 mana. So mana rocks are pretty important. Eyeblight Colors. When it dies, create 3 1/1 green elf warrior creature tokens, then mill 3. That seems very solid for common. Fiery Cannonade, another solid common. 2 damage to each non-pirate creature. You can run that even outside the pirate deck, because sometimes, you know, the board will be in such a state where you want to use that. Sky Whaler's Shot. That seems kind of pirate themed. Destroy target creature with power 3 or greater. Scry 1. Instant speed. Very good. White is looking strong in our pile so far. And we've got Finclade Fugitive's Elf Salamander Rogue. It can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. It's a 7/4 for 6 and an Encores? That's ridiculously good. I guess if you're up against the commander that has protection from salamanders, it's not so great, but otherwise. And we have an instant speed Reclamation. Destroy target artifact or enchantment with Cascade. I think you pretty much always play that, right? You just get a free spell, and there'll always be a good target in a commander game. We got a Sisei's Ring. This is borderline ramp, right? 4 mana for 2. So it takes a couple turns. I mean, I guess it kind of pays. It doesn't come into play tap, so. Now we're in the uncommons here. Let's square up. Volcanic Dragon. 4/4 flying haste for 6. Very good. That's a way to steal the Monarch, right? They're not expecting you to attack, and then got some Merchant Raiders. When they or another pirate enters the battlefield under your control, you tap up to 1 target creature. That creature doesn't untap during its controller's untap step for as long as you control Merchant Raiders. Good solid pirate removal. 3 visits, nice. I'm hoping to trade for as many of these as I can, because these just go into commander decks. 1 and a green, search your library for a forest card. Doesn't have to be a basic forest. And put it onto the battlefield. Doesn't come untapped. Very good, very highly needed reprint. And our rare, in the rare slot here is Elvish Dreadlord. 3/3 Death Touch Zombie Elf. When Elvish Dreadlord dies, non-elf creatures get -3/-3 until end of turn, and you can encore it. Whew, that's pretty powerful. I like that. And then we have the black-red Signpost, Jury Master of the Review. It's a 1/1, and whenever you sacrifice a permanent, it gets +1/+1. And when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. I think in the right deck where you're sacrificing stuff all over the place, this could do some serious commander damage. Ooh, and we got a 3-color Amareth the Lustrous. 6/6 flying legendary dragon. Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, look at the top card of your library. If it shares a card type with that permanent, you may reveal that card and put it into your hand. That is my new pick for our commander, I think. Then we've got a foil Perilous Mirror. When it dies, it deals 2 damage to any target. Maybe good in a sacrifice deck. And a soldier token. Final pack here. Maybe calling Jeweled Lotus. Call your Jeweled Lotus now. Alright. We got a colorless equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So it's 2 to bring down, 2 to equip, and it doesn't do anything yet. Maybe in the +1 counter deck. We'll see about that one. Wild Celebrants. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact. You pretty much always play that kind of thing. 5/3. It's like a bad acidic slime. Prosperous Pirates. When it enters the battlefield, create 2 treasure tokens. Hey, look. We've got a treasure token for you, Prosperous Pirates. Bladebrand. Target creature gains Death Touch until end of turn. Draw a card. Maybe for your expendable creatures deck. Champion of the Flame. Oh yeah, this is a good common. 1/1 trample. It gets +2/+2 for each aura and equipment attached to it. So just build your own Voltron non-commander. Fervent Denial. Counterspell with Cascade. That's pretty fun. You don't necessarily run that in a control deck, right? So you don't want to cascade into another counterspell. Counter your own counterspell. Non-elf creatures get -2/-2 until end of turn. It's a sorcery for Eyeblight Massacre for 4. It seems a bit overcosted. Pilgrim's Eye. 1/1 flying. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a basic land, reveal it, and put it into your hand. Maybe alright. Cage of Hands. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and you can bounce it back and replay it. It's kind of expensive, but you take what you can get, especially in a sealed pool. Entourage of Trest. It's a 4/4 elf soldier for 5. When it enters the battlefield, you become the monarch. Entourage of Trest can block an additional creature card each combat as long as you're the monarch, so that helps you keep the monarch, which is pretty good. We've got the Maofeld twins for 6, and when it dies you create 2 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. Kind of expensive, maybe in the right deck. Another Perilous Mirror. Terramorphic Expanse, very playable fetch land. Daring Saboteur, 2/1 pirate. You can make an unblockable. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Card selection. Pretty good. What you want to see on a small creature? Ooh, Faith's Fetters. Very solid in this format, I'm guessing. When it enters battlefield, you gain 4 life, and then you can just shut off, and a permanent can't attack, block, or use its activated abilities. That's cool. Oh, Meteor Golem. Great to see in a sealed pool. That goes in anything. It's a 3/3 that comes in and destroys some permanent. Ooh, Sakashima's Protege. 3/1 flash, Cascade, and you can have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any permanent that entered the battlefield this turn. So that's where the Cascade part helps. Pretty cool. Pretty fun. A little bit wacky. Maybe not the spikiest card. Tormod the Desecrator. Whenever 1 or more cards leave your graveyard, create a tap 2/2 black zombie creature token. Nice. That seems like it partners very nicely. And another uncommon legend, we have Gilanra, Collar of Wirewood. Tap, add a green. When you spend this mana to cast a spell with converted mana cost 6 or greater, draw a card. Partner. Okay. Extra mana and draw a card. Ooh, and we got a Foil Training Center. Enters the battlefield tapped unless you have 2 or more opponents. That's the blue-red Battlemon land. And we've got a Thrall token. Oh, that's so cool. I remember Fallen Empires. I remember the beginnings of the Thrall. Alright, let's start laying these cards out and take a look at what kind of deck we can build with them. We can probably start off with stuff that's going to make our decking colorless no matter what. The Meteor Golem, probably the Sisei's Ring, the Seer's Lantern, the Blade Griff Prototype, the Thought Vessel. Yeah, that makes you the Monarch. This 9 mana one, because why not? So that's a solid base. So they're recommending you want about 25 lands, 35 playables. Now I'm wondering, like, you know, traditionally with the sealed pool, I go through each color and see, okay, what's the strongest color? But here, I think maybe I'm going to start with the commanders, because that's the card or cards we're guaranteed to cast at least once, if not several times in a game. And we can pay attention to, you know, some of these, like, if we run Amorath, we're definitely not playing Prismatic Piper. If we run Amorath the Lustrous, if we do go for a 3-color build, then we can run some of these in the 99 of Amorath. We got Jury. In terms of the 2-color ones, we got Rayav, and that's it. If Tevesh Svat, that's their highest rarity commander, that's a partner, so that would mean partnering black. It looks like we have a pretty big black pile. We have decent fixing for a 3-color deck. I'm very tempted to play the 3 colors because that way we can play the best of all 3 of those colors. So that would mean saying bye-bye to Tevesh Svat, Doom of Fools, but I think that is more where we want to be. Just a 6/6 flying dragon, maybe popping something on it, +1/+1 counter, and then it's 3 hits for winning with commander damage. But we could run this Sarah Angel and the Sun Main Familiar in the main deck, and the Isior Wardwing Familiar in that main deck. And we could even run Slurk in that main deck. So that gives us a lot of our commanders available. Do we even want to look at what we're losing in red and black? I mean, the Wild Celebrants, Volcanic Dragon, the Fiery Cannonade, the Undying Rage. Probably play the Munitions. You'd probably play a lot of these. Spark, Fire Diamond, so we lose a ramp, Dragon Egg. We couldn't play Training Center, that would be out. We can, however, play all these other cards, although I think Command Beacon would probably also be out. We just don't want to land the taps for colorless, as nice as it is to be able to sacrifice and save on commander attacks late in the game. And for black, we're giving up anything really great. We got this Elvish Dreadlord, looks like a super bomb here, because when you encore it, you're going to probably get -9/-9 to all the other non-elves, but anyway, didn't we have another elf-based commander? Did I put it in the wrong space? Yeah, there's that one. Oh yeah, that one. I hope you all left a comment before you saw that I've corrected for that. Moss Diamond would go in. Entourage of Trust will definitely go into the deck. We're still looking at black here. Is there anything else? Nightblade. 3 Visits goes into the deck. Reclamation would go into the deck. This seems like it would go into the deck. Silverback might go into the deck. Hunter's Insight would definitely go in. These Lana, Crushing Vines, probably the Spider, possibly this Wildheart Invoker. I don't know about the +1 counters. The Ancient Animus, that's kind of removal. Ivy Lane Denizen, probably. Strength of the Pack, probably. So a lot of our green. Green seems strong. Faith Fetters, Cage of Hands, Sky Whaler's Shot. Don't know if we want Angelic Gift. Austere Command is another reason to play white here, and the Cartographer to ramp. I don't know if we want to make tokens, if that's really our thing. The Night Bridge Patrol seems pretty low power. The Benevolent Blessing seems decent. And then we got all these flyers. We got 2 Angels of Dawn, Squad Captain, no, not right now. Return to Dust we would play. Seraph of Dawn we'd play. Anointer of Valor. No, we might play the Angel of Dawns over that. We definitely play the Dispeller's Capsule. And 3/3 flyers that give your team +1/+1 in Vigilance. We'll put those aside for now. Those are on the bubble. Sakashima's Protege. Why not? This Pirate is going to be good at stealing the Monarch for us. Maybe have it running a counterspell is decent. Prosperous Pirates probably get better in a 3-color deck, right? Making the treasures. Merchant Raiders, it's kind of removal. Runaway Together is removal. The Avon Surveyor. How important it is to bounce. I mean, there are a lot of +1/+1 counter things running around. It might be good to be able to bounce something. It doesn't have flash. I'm going to put it on the bottom here. Kitesail Skirmisher would go in. I don't know about this Scrapdiver Serpent. Have to think about that. Scholar of the Ages, we'd have to look and see what spells we have, probably, that we'd want to bring back. Azure Fleet Admiral, getting the Monarch, definitely goes in. Scholar of the Stars, just a 3/2 draw card. Probably a little low power for what we want to do. Strategic Planning, we don't need to stock our graveyard. Prying Eyes is instant speed, that's worth probably putting in. And then bouncing a tapped creature and drawing a card is very situational. We'll just leave that out for now. That plus the colorless, how many we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So even at that point, we're having to make some cuts. so let's start laying that out and take another look. Okay, started laying out things just based on the curve to see if there's anywhere on the curve where we can make some easy cuts. So, you know, I think our win conditions are probably to try and win in the air in a lot of cases. Got this crushing vines to remove some flyers. We got Lisa Lana. Can remove a few flyers. I think we just got elves running around enough. We'll be able to shoot down some smaller flyers. The question is, can we hold down the ground? I'm wondering if the core cartographer is just a bit slow. I mean, we do have a lot of stuff high up in the curve here. The Sisei's Ring and the core cartographer. I mean, we do have a 6 mana commander, so getting to that, I guess we just want to play every bit of ramp that we can. Cascade is probably good with Amareth, right? Whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you look at the top card of your library. So Cascade is going to bring a couple permanents in, hopefully, theoretically. I guess our question is, what do you cut, right? 10 cuts out of here. All right, well, the battery on my camera died, so we're just going to record this with this last bit with my phone here. We ended up with Thought Vessel, Runaway Together, Daring Saboteur, 3 Visits, Moss Diamond, Essior, Kaleth, and Ancient Animus at the 2-drop slot. Seer's Lantern, some removal with Sky Whaler Shot, Cage of Hands, Crushing Vines, and Lisa Lana at the 3-drop slot. And we got Ramp here with Sisei's Ring. We got the Kite Sail Skirmisher, it's just a Encore. We got the Merchant Raiders, which is removal. Dispeller's Capsule, which is removal. Fate's Feathers, which is removal. And Core Cartographer, which is ramp. So you can see the early game is all just about ramp. We got it for our draw cards. Oh no, Natural Reclamation is actually not a draw card. That's removal. But for our draw cards, we've got Hunter's Insight. So when we get through with a big flyer, we can cast that and draw a bunch of cards. Prying Eyes, draw 4 cards, discard 2. The discard stuff, of course, works with our Encore creatures. We got Ramp in Gil'Anra, and also can draw cards when we cast the big stuff. Azure Fleet Admiral gives us the Monarch. Entourage of Trust gives us the Monarch, and Staunch Throne Guard gives us the Monarch. I think a lot of our strategy with flyers is getting the Monarch and keeping the Monarch. And just try to win through card advantage. And we got Blade Griff Prototype for some removal. Prosperous Pirates for some ramp and fixing. Sakashima's Protege, I went back and forth on this one, but I decided it coming in as a copy of our opponent's best creature is worth holding up 6 mana when we have it in hand, and then the Cascade is just a bonus. Austere Command, you obviously just run that no matter what. And the Finclade Fugitives is an Encore card. Sarah is going to be one of our big threats. We got enough flyers that we can always just keep one untapped. And actually, do we have enough flyers? I think we do. We got the Meteor Golem, and I did keep Phyrexian Triniform in the deck. What were the final cuts here? Well, we lost Wildheart Invoker. We may put that one back in, but it's double green. And we kind of were cutting Elf and +1/+1 counter synergies. Likewise, Seraph at Dawn. We do like the flyer, but it just looks like maybe it will get outclassed. We don't have a lot of synergies in terms of the lifelink. Ivy Lane Denizen. +1 counter synergies. Numa +1/+1 counters. And Elf synergies. Slurk +1/+1 counter synergies. Return to Dust. We have the Dispeller's Capsule and some other ways of dealing with artifacts and enchantments. So it just seemed like with the double white pips, and we're playing a 3-color deck, was not going to be as good. Forceful Denial, likewise, just holding up a counterspell all the time. Sentinel Spider we might put back in, depending on whether we're not able to hold down the ground. Strength of the Pack, we're not going super wide, so I didn't think that was going to be it. And then Benevolent Blessing, another late cut. I just didn't feel like holding up the 2 mana. We don't have any threats that are so terrible that are so, you know, powerful that we can't afford to lose them. So that is the deck. Now I got to build the mana base, but we need about 25 lands. We've got these 3 multicolor lands. They're all tap lands, unfortunately. Anyways, I'm going to sleeve that up, and then hopefully sometime later on the channel I will be able to record some games that we'll play over Spell Table with these, with the decks my friends and I are going to be building out of these Commander Legends sealed pools. So good way to play here in the pandemic. Thanks for joining me here in the attic. Leave some comments. Let me know, did I pick the right cards? Should I be running something else? I'm sure as this format shakes out, it'll be really obvious that I missed some really fantastic bombs. But again, just stay tuned to the channel, see what's going to happen. Subscribe. I am going to try to give away some stuff, maybe even some stuff from this Commander Legends box. So keep an eye out for that. Remember, Magic is a game so fun, even dads can enjoy it. Catch you later.